I'm super excited to do this presentation for you guys. We're going to be going over just a very, very broad overview of the recruiting process and a college pathway. I invited Mike Brown, the head coach of Iowa Western men's soccer program. If you don't know already, his program is one of the best in the country, if not the best programs in the country I would go at any level. The way he runs his program is very similar to a Division I program. He's coached at the Division I program, NCAA Division program, or Division I level, and he runs it like it's a professional club. And you can ask his boys how it is, and what you can just see from the results of where his players are moving on to, not only at every level of college, but also moving on to the professional level as well. So I invited him because he's more of an expert for you guys as far as recruiting boys, okay? I coach the women's team, and there's complete differences. So I'm gonna go through some things. If we contradict each other, listen to Mike, okay? Because he's the expert in what you guys are going through, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a general overview of the different levels of college soccer, and then I'm going to turn the time over to him to take as much time as he wants before he jumps in to train his team. But I did want to give him ample time. So I'm going to probably fly through mine. He'll give you some really great pieces of information, and then I'll come back in, and then we'll continue with my presentation. But I did want to give you an overview, okay? And this is what we're going to go through. We're going to go through a level breakdown of what the college scene looks like, and then where the opportunities are. We'll talk about scholarships and rosters, academic prep, athletic prep, preparing for the process, and then working the process of being recruited, and then what resources you'll have available to you. We won't get to everything tonight, and so we're going to make this an ongoing series. We may touch on something tonight, but we're going to go in more depth later on, okay? And we'll tap into Mike as a resource in the future. So just a level breakdown, and there's a couple principles when you're looking at different levels. Everybody says, oh, I just want to go NCAA Division I, and I don't want to look at anything else. And you're closing yourself off to a huge, huge opportunity. Okay, certainly there are teams at the Division I level that are top, right? That are top. And not everybody is going to make it on those top teams. But then you also have teams at the Division I level that Mike's team would crush. Okay, would you agree on that?
We beat UNO last year.
They beat UNO, and UNO is no slouch. UNO is good. Yeah. UNO is no good. Or sorry, UNO is good. So they're no slouch. So they're competing at a high, high level. So as I go through this, I listed them, and not necessarily in order. Just know that there's different levels in each division. Okay? So don't close yourself off. There's a couple things that I want to instill in you guys, a couple principles. Principle one, it's all about the fit. Okay? What fits for you? Okay? For some of you, it could be a top-level Division I school. Okay, that could be a fit, but you have to figure that out, and we'll talk about what that fit means later on. Not all programs are created equal in each division. Okay, so there's some fantastic, fantastic programs at the Division I level, but there's also some programs that aren't run as well, or perhaps they're not funded as well at the Division I level. So there's a varying degree. Okay, same at the Division II in every single level. So the difference, I'll go into the differences in a second. And then principle three, the best opportunities aren't always found at the NCAA Division I level. One major difference, and this is just one difference that I'm just going to throw out there. At the NCAA Division I men's level, they can only offer a maximum of 9.9 full scholarships for their roster if that program is fully funded. Not every program is fully funded. But if they are fully funded, they can only offer 9.9 scholarships to their roster. Whereas at the junior college level, or at the NJCAA level, where me and Mike work, the rules stipulate that we can offer 24 full scholarships if we're fully funded, okay? Yeah, it would be nice, but the rules say that we can, okay? So that's one major difference. So if you're just looking at NCAA Division I, you're gonna miss out on perhaps a great opportunity to get a really good scholarship, okay? So just keep an open mind. The best opportunities aren't always found at the NCAA Division I level. Okay, just to jump in to a couple of the differences. So you see, I'm just going to focus on the men's side here. So NCAA Division I scholarships, I've already talked about 9.9 scholarships they can offer. Their average roster is 26 to 28. This data is from the recent 2019 and between 2014 and 2019. So that's the average roster. Programs, there's 200 plus. I don't have the exact numbers. Oh, sorry, I didn't change this. Division II, they can offer 9 scholarships. Still 200 plus different Division II programs. Division III, they cannot offer any athletic scholarships. Okay, but there's much more programs there where you can find an opportunity to play. Roster sizes are also bigger at the Division III level. NAIA and NJCA. NAIA can offer 12 scholarships. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one. I might be wrong.
I think 12 is the number.
12. And then the NJCA Division I men can offer 24. How many Division I programs are there on the NJCA men? Division I?
No, actually now.
Because Division II. We're at 84, so you're probably a little bit less than that.
In the 60s.
In the 60s.
Yeah.
Okay. So the NJCA just created a Division II, and in the NJCA, the differences are Division I, we can offer full scholarships, including housing and meals and other costs. Division II can only offer tuition, okay, and books. And then Division III can't offer anything at the junior college level. So that's just the junior college. Okay, NCAA is different. Okay, but note, not all schools are fully funded. Okay, we're one of the best programs in the country, and we are far from being fully funded. Okay, I would count on one hand how many programs are fully funded on the women's side. I'm not sure on the men's side. Okay, so 0 are fully funded. But just know that that there's different levels. That's the max they can give. All right. So I'm going to skip these stats. We'll probably go back to them. And I just want to talk a little bit about. I'm going to have Mike jump in here for a little bit. What do we have in this room? Freshmen, sophomores, juniors? So freshmen, who's in their freshman year in high school? Okay, sophomores? Juniors? Okay, any seniors, no seniors? Okay, 8th graders?
I'm a senior.
Senior, okay. So you got freshmen, sophomore, juniors. Talk to them about what they should be doing in their respective age group and what they should be doing. Feel free to follow this or just say it's completely different for me.
I think the big thing first off is create a list of about 15 to 20 programs that fit you. And I think it's really, you gotta find what fits. So for example, I always look at, when I talk to a lot of kids, I always talk about my recruiting process when I came out. Because through my recruiting process, I actually got to experience a lot of different levels. So I came out of high school, one of the better players in my city. It was a small town in Bordentown, New Jersey. Thought I was big time, this and that. Got offered a walk-on spot at Rider University. They were a top 50 D1 at the time. Got offered a walk-on spot at Mercer Community College, which was a top 5 junior college at the time that was competing for national championships. And then I had a scholarship offer at an NAIA out at Benedictine College in Kansas. My family is from Kansas, so and I played for the coach my freshman year. Long story short on that one, but so I had those 3 different offers. First thought when I got offered the walk-on spot at Rider, I was like, I don't want to be a walk-on at a Division I program. I was like, I don't want to do that. I heard junior college. I was like, junior college is stupid. I don't never want to do junior college. Like, I being an 18, 19-year-old kid, I'm like, oh, I'm way too better for junior college. Like, I legitimately thought that. I had no idea how good Mercer was. I had never gotten to see them play or anything like that. And then, there was an NAI school out in Benedictine. And during my time, and at Benedictine, before I went there, we weren't top 25. So I will tell you, in my mindset, I was like, oh, sweet. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to start every single game. I'm going to be awesome. I'm going to play, all this and everything. I didn't start a single game my entire career at Benedictine. Didn't play a single minute. One of the best NAI programs in the country. I left probably $40,000 to $50,000 in debt. So I think it's really understand the levels, understand the different types of schools. All of you in here get a scholarship from an NAI program. All of you, really. Like, they might give you $500, you $1,000, because they all got to balance out their average in the end. That's something you got to understand too when a lot of these schools, when they offer you scholarships. Make sure you're finding the right fit is really what it comes back to. I think beginning the plan to experience these colleges is something really good too. You need to be able, if you were not able to play soccer, would you still be happy at that school? I think that's a really important thing to think about. Do not make your decision solely on soccer. And that is one of the things, in fact, me and my dad were just talking about the other day. I made my decision not solely on soccer, and so when I blew out my knee, I was still happy at the school I was at. I still had a good experience. I still had a positive experience in that sense. Even though the soccer experience wasn't what I wanted it to be, I still had a positive experience in my education. Contact each program and let them know of your interests. I think it's really good to contact them early. That being said, I will tell you, when you're in freshman, sophomore year, I'll look at the email and then I file it. I have a folder, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. What we do, we forward it on, and I send it to Alex, who's my recruiting coordinator, and then he puts you in a large database, and we keep track of it. I will tell you, in terms of what we're going to communicate, in the junior college NAI level, it'll be very minimal. In the Division I process, even more so on the women's side, they're recruiting you at freshman and sophomore year. When I was at UCA, we started identifying guys their sophomore year, get them committed by and then get them committed by their junior year. So in between their sophomore and junior year, we were having them on campus for a camp, and that was our way of recruiting them and getting them on campus for a visit. So I think, contact them. If you're interested in Division I, Division II program, yeah, I think contact them, really showing your interest. But, in terms of the other schools, NAI, JUCOs, don't get let down if they don't respond back, because in our world, we're trying to get the best of here and now. We don't really project our recruiting because sometimes players fall through the cracks, and we're trying to find those in the immediate sense. But the really good programs, they'll at least follow the email and put it aside so they can at least come back to you, and they try to get eyes. In fact, I had Alex this past weekend. He was at the U16 Nebraska State Cup. And I told him, I was like, just take notes. Just take notes on guys and everything. We like to start identifying guys and seeing them ahead of time. We're not going to probably talk to them, but maybe we get into our camps. Maybe we just keep an eye and we watch how they develop over their 4 years. Invite them to watch you play or live video. That's big. Give them your schedule, give them your games, all those things. Even when you're in your sophomore year, they may not be really focused on you right away, but if you give them the schedule, if they're there to watch an older games, they might go, well, you know what, I'm just going to go watch this young player's games too. And I will tell you, I am known as a guy, I will watch soccer games all day. When I'm out on the recruiting trail, you will see me at U15 game. I was talking to, actually on a college panel last night with the Sporting KC affiliate coaches, and one of the guys who's now the director of them, he was making jokes. He used to be a director of the Kansas Soccer. He's like, yeah, I see Mike at U14 games. I'm always watching. The really good recruiters will always be watching. When you guys are out there training, if some of you are screwing around or some of you are taking it serious, I'm watching. I am watching always. Because I want to see, do guys have the right mentality to play for us? I think attend seminars to stay current on recruiting trends. I think really understand, look at rosters. Look at rosters of all the programs you are looking at. Okay? I think a lot of people, and I fell in this trap myself, think, oh, I'm the best player in Bordentown, New Jersey. I would kill it at Mercer. Mercer had like Israeli national team, Haitian national team guys, and things like that. I would have never played. Okay? I wasn't good enough. Okay? So understand what you're getting yourself into, in terms of that. I thought then in college I was going to be like the best player just because I was coming from, a good high school program. When I got there, I was going against 25-year-old internationals and things like that, and I was number 31 out of 35 on the roster. Try to understand what you're getting into. I think for us, we run a reserve program, and it's awesome because we really try to run it like a second program, in the sense that we're giving guys opportunity to compete at a high level and really participate on a daily basis. And in fact, our reserve team coach is a former Division I assistant from a top 25 program. So you just got to know what you're getting into, especially I would say with NAIAs. A lot of coaches, they'll bring you in. It's an enrollment business. I'm sure Adam will tell you that right now, especially now in the current economic climate. It is an enrollment business. I will be very honest with you and up front. We are constantly trying to increase our enrollment. But when we do that, we consider that a business model in a sense. And so we try to run it as not only a profitable business, but we also try to run the business the right way. So I'm not bringing in 70 kids and just being like, whatever, to the other 35 that don't play for us. We still try to have relationships. We try to make sure they have a good experience. That's how we do it. That being said, when I was at Varn, there was a school, I'm not going to say their name actually. Well, they don't exist anymore actually, but they would bring in 120 kids. 120 kids, and on the first day of practice, the coach would look at them all. He would just pick his 24. All the rest of the guys were just hanging out. So make sure you know what you're getting into, okay? Make sure that you can trust the coach. You can trust, you can, when the coach is telling you, hey, this is where you're on your roster, this is where I project you. I think those are things really to understand, but I think it goes back, just looking at the rosters and being realistic with yourself and what your goals are from there. And I will tell you that I went to NAI, I had a great experience off the field. Soccer-wise, I did not have a great experience. But I learned so much that has helped me grow as a coach and helped me, I think, build good programs in that sense. So that's it. You can take the rest, or am I missing something?
No, you guys have any questions for Mike before we let him go? I've got a couple questions.
Yeah, you can shoot it.
So you talked a little bit about paying attention to rosters. Mm-hmm. Is it appropriate for them to ask a coach, what does your recruiting cycle look like in my position?
It's a good question. So, going on that question, actually, you're asking just what the position breakdown is?
Yeah, make it personal for a little bit for them. Do coaches are a little bit standoffish because maybe they want to decide where they see you playing? Or is it a red flag for you if the player says, hey, I want to play the attacking mid, what does your attacking mid look like? When really you could be thinking, I'm going to play this player in a different one. But it's something I think you need to know.
I would say our system's so crazy in the sense of how we play players. I think soccer is such a different sport than football, baseball, basketball, in that sense. And I will say for us, we look for soccer players. We really do. So, very rarely does a guy come into our program and play just one position. In fact, probably our starting left center back played midfield last year for Phoenix College, and was Arizona Player of the Year. So is it a turnoff? Yeah, I can see it being a turnoff sometimes. It just depends how the kid says it, I think you gotta have an open mind. I went into college as a midfielder, and then I went in as an outside back. and then end up college as a center back. You know, I think you've got to have an open mind when you get in there, because you really don't know until you see the other recruits and you see where you fit. When you get to college, you're just fighting and scrapping for a spot. So you have to be willing to play. You know, if someone tells you, hey, I need you to go play right back, some of the best right backs and left backs in the world were made out of attacking players. You know, I mean, I think the women's national team has been famous for doing that. You know, there would be girls that play forward till they're U18, U20, and next thing you know, they're starting outside back for the national team. You've got to be flexible. You know, you got to be flexible and understand too. I think as coaches, we are trying to fit the pieces of the puzzle together, and we're trying to find the solutions that help us in reality win games and keep us up, keep our jobs. You know, that's the reality of it. Shuley, I got lots of time.
I got one.
Okay.
So is there anything that like you would look for, say, if a player emailed you? Is there anything that would stand out to you that would make you more interested in them than just a regular email?
I think one is how well written the email is. You know, that's a big thing for me. You know, it's just an effort and attention to detail. You know, just writing basic emails with lots of punctuation errors and everything on that. I'll admit, I'll be honest, like, you know, we have gotten those before, and there has been, okay, well, he's pretty good, okay, we'll deal with it, but that's 1 out of a million. You know, most of the time, like, when I see those emails that are really poorly written and not, like, really well, hey, coach, I want to play soccer for you, I delete that. I mean, I just don't deal with those, because those kids are going to be headaches. You can't put attention to detail in that email. How can I expect you to be 10 minutes early to training? How can I expect you to be at curfew at 10 p.m.? How can I expect you, you know what I mean? Those little things are something we really look for. And I will tell you, we're getting even more detail to that, even in our reserve program. You know, like, we want people in our program, regardless if you play 0 minutes or 90 minutes, that are just good people, can do the right things. So I think it's, when you write an email, you really, you know, polite, you know, respectful. Never ask for a scholarship. Never ask for a scholarship. Never ask for a scholarship. In fact, there was like a German player last week who said, "Coach, can I get a scholarship?" I just didn't respond. Like just don't do it. You know, like, if the coach feels you're aware of a scholarship, worthy for a scholarship, he will give you a scholarship. You know, in that sense, I think you can ask the cost, obviously, and what does the cost look like. I think that's a better way of framing it. I think, you know, and try to get video in it too. Video's big, you know, and then a schedule. And when you do a schedule, don't just say, here's my schedule. Put, I will be this number, playing this spot, and wearing this color. You know, like, so it's just really precise and specific in terms of what we're looking for in terms of that. What other questions? Shoot away, guys.
I think to go along with that, that's a great question. And for me, that's huge too. Like, an email is not a text message. So have your parents review it, and in these series, we'll practice on how to do that and how to write a good email. I would also say do some research on the program, and if Mike won Coach of the Year recently, put that first in. Hey, congratulations on Coach of the Year. I'm really interested in playing for you. That shows me that you're not just shopping around, and even though you are shopping around, and that's okay.
Right.
But you've done some homework and know a little bit about the program, and you're staying current. And then, yeah, punctuation and being grammatically correct.
I always
emails is key.
I tell Alex, my recruiting coordinator from their side, because, like, I was a recruiting coordinator for a few years. I recruited a bunch of guys at Division I, things like that. It's like a relationship, okay? And the best way to put it, you guys are going to a relationship with a girl. You know, would you put a lackadaisical effort into it if you really wanted to date that girl? Probably not. You would put your best effort into it. Same thing with an email, you know, and same thing with conversations, you know, like, I really, in fact, I'll just tell you one of my recruiting tricks. So I was sitting down with Alex today, is like, we need to know, like, we need to have a system where we, every Christmas, Thanksgiving, all these holidays come up, we are texting and emailing our guys, Merry Christmas, Happy Thanksgiving, all that. If a player did that to me, I'm telling you what, I would be just blown away, you know. Now, I don't know if he's any good, this, that, you know, then we gotta evaluate those things. But that at least shows me the character and the heart, you know. And when I was a younger head coach, I used to be cut and dry. You screw up, you're done, this and that. If I know there's a good heart in you that you're going to think about me on those things and think about stuff going on, I'm going to work with you. I'm going to help you grow. You know, there's some kids where I'm just like, see ya. But if I know there's a good heart, you truly care about people, and you're people, and you care about others as much as like we care about you as a coach. You know, you show that in the recruiting process. That's big. And I'll tell you what, like kids like that, they may not be good enough for money, and that's just reality. I'm still going to try to get them. And maybe if they do well the first semester, maybe they don't play, and I have money open second semester, I might give them that money. I've done that a million times. I bet Adam's done it. You know, like I'm big on culture, guys. If you want, I'll tell you my biggest mistake was this fall due to COVID. We sacrificed culture to get some really good players, and we are just clearing out some of those guys right now because we're not dealing with it. So show that you're a good piece to the puzzle is what I would say, and that you want this relationship to work both sides. And as coaches, they'll at least appreciate that. Does that guarantee that you're gonna get the spot or a scholarship? I don't know. I can't tell you that. But at least say that you're putting yourself in a good light for the interview process. Or a question. Keep asking. Okay?
I think some of these guys didn't even know that this was going on, so they don't know. They may not know what a junior college is, and they may not know like how you could be happy at college, what that takes. And I think, you know, they got to have the major that you want to leave with, right? Could you back up a little bit and talk about just like junior college's 2-year program?
Yep. So going on that note, the reality is, I will say this, what I'm learning, most 18, 19-year-old kids, you have no idea who you are. You know, I'm sure a lot of us can attest as we're older, how many times we changed our major when we got older. I changed my major 5 times my first 2 years of college. I went from being a history major to international business and 3 different parts in between then to all of a sudden, now I'm a soccer coach. So I would tell you, in terms of the major side of it, I think you got to be careful too, putting your eggs in one basket, because if you do, you could be ending up having to pay for an extra year of college in the back end because of the credits you need for the major you switch to. So I think what I would advise you to do in terms of majors, have options. Look for schools that have multiple options and things you can be interested in. Because I thought I wanted to be a history teacher. I sat in my first history class on day 1, and there were these 2 guys talking about how the Germans used to steal light bulbs from the Americans. And I realized this is not for me, And so I think you want to don't just pigeonhole into one major. Look at different ones, and then look at schools that have those different types of majors and things like that. That's how I guess I would word that question. Does that answer it fully, kind of what you're looking for?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You guys have questions along those lines, or questions about the different colleges that are out there?
Yep.
What are some examples of well-known colleges around here that are NCAA Division III or Division II?
Division III, I would say Wartburg's a pretty good one, pretty well-known school. Some other ones around here. Division III ones. Iowa has a few D3s, I would say. Don't shut out the NAI level either, I would say. There's some really good NAI programs, especially around here, William Penn, Grandview, Midland, Bellevue, all those schools. You gotta make sure it's the right fit, obviously, but Division II, trying to think of Division II ones. Rockhurst is in Kansas City, William Jewell is pretty pricey. I think you get more south, you go towards a Drury in terms of there. You go a little bit east, you got some schools in Illinois. Colorado has a lot of D2 soccer programs. You go up more South Dakota, you got South Dakota School of Mines, things like that. Up towards the Minnesota, Wisconsin area, there's a lot of D3s, a lot of really good D3 programs in that area as well, I would say. What else you got for me?
And I'll give you a resource where you can just kind of look, that has a list of every single school, and you can narrow down your focus toward the region and division, and it'll give you a list of schools in that area.
Which one is that?
College Fit Finder.
Okay, the College Board has one too.
College Board, that's
yeah.
the one.
Okay, yeah, that's the one I use a lot, and that's one I have my guys use. When they don't know, I just say, hey, what are you doing? We just kind of check mark through there.
And I'll give you guys that website.
Okay.
So we're gonna be doing the college showcase in Kansas City in a few weeks.
Which one?
And, just the Kansas City.
The Challenger
No.
or GSI?
GSI.
Okay. Oh, it's always so cool.
Yeah.
November 20.
Yeah, hopefully. So I think a lot of these kids are going, and should they?
Tips.
What is the website that you load up? The what? Captain
I
U,
think we're-
is that something that you guys look at?
It helps give us a roster.
Yeah, it gives us a roster, so it is good, but
So when,
But that's not something that they should pay money to subscribe to?
no.
Okay.
Yeah. Field level, all that stuff, no, don't.
pay for any services.
Yeah, don't pay for any services. You've got Adam, we're here to help you guys, in terms of that.
What about grades? Like, what is the like the minimum GPA, or like, what are you looking for? Because
So
I feel like we got a lot of kids that are really smart, and I feel like some kids have a lot of improvement.
Yep.
What are you looking at?
So let's see. I can give you a political answer. I can give you a blunt answer. So blunt answer is if you're really good, and I know you're gonna score 30 goals for me. I see you have a 2.0. I'll work with you. But in our program, though, we have extremely high standards. So we don't care how good you are. The minute you have a D, you're not practicing. The minute you have C, you're doing extra study hall. And so we've got great players right now that aren't practicing doing weights because we're very strict on that. But I will say we are starting to look at those things as red flags, on some kids, because I think you gotta understand, for us, we recruit on a global scale. So, if we're looking at this kid that's playing with the Portuguese national team, or a kid from the Omaha metro area, kid from a Portuguese national team, he's got a 4.0 and all his grades, he just can't speak English, versus a kid from the Omaha metro area who's got a 2.0, those things are it's the same thing with the interview process. I don't know if there's a minimum. I mean, for junior college, you just got to graduate high school. So, that's kind of thing. But if you want to go on to some of those bigger schools, things like that, you've got to have good grades. And some of the scholarships, I will say too, especially at the NAI and NCAA D2 and D3 level, are based off academics. And so the lower your GPA is, you're costing your family a couple $1,000s. And I even tell our guys that. In fact, Alex in charge of academics, he created a group tonight with 15 of our guys just grabbing C's, and just those C's, what I tell them all the time, that lower, it's a couple thousand every C you get, you can get your GPA 3.5, you're a good player. Remember, it's 9.9 and 9.0. They're not gonna, very rarely, unless you are super fast and you're gonna score 30 goals, you're probably not getting a full of all athletic playing. It's just not happening. And if the program is doing it, they're probably not that good. Just telling you, because they're wasting all their resources on one player, And so what I would tell you is that academics is key, and that's one thing we're really well known for as a program. Going back to when I was a sister in 12 and 13, we would get guys good grades, and so schools could stack on terms of that. They could give us some academic aid, and then they could put athletic money on that. So sometimes they get a 2-for-1 deal. It's a business in that sense. From there. Did they leave? I might need to go find my kids. So anything else?
Yeah, you gotta leave it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. If you want them all in by themselves, they'll do.
Go run your training session.
Yeah.
To piggyback on what Mike said, Mike runs his program. How he runs his athletic program is how he runs his academic program. So he'll say he'll work with that 2.0 striker,
but he's looking at that person being world class. Okay, they have to be world class. So don't think, oh yeah, I'm pretty good. I don't need to do my grades. His program got a 3.5 GPA, probably second or third highest in all of junior college last year in the entire country. Okay, so when he says, I'll work with the kid at 2.0, the kid has to be world class. Like, he has to be world class. The other thing is, he said thousands of dollars. I will multiply that by tens of thousands of dollars. If you're not getting good grades, you're costing yourself and your family potentially tens of thousands of dollars. These private schools, especially at the NAIA level, and then some private Division III schools, they have a scale, an academic scale, and they go off of your GPA, your high school GPA. And if you get a 4.0, your scholarship could be $20,000. If you get a 3.5, then your scholarship is $15,000. If you get a 2.0, then you're probably only looking at $2,000 or $3,000. So it pays to get great grades. And at the Division I level, they can only offer 9.9 athletic scholarships. But if you're getting a 4.0, you're eligible for, I don't think there's a limit on, at some institutions, of the academic money you can get and what you're eligible for. So let's say you only get $10,000 of athletic aid, but then you get $30,000 of academic aid. A full ride is a full ride. It doesn't matter where the funds come from. Just know that there's more academic money out there than football money, than soccer money. Okay, so grades are paramount. Let me see where we're at here. Go ahead.
Time commitment at the different programs. I mean, like, for these guys that don't know if they want to play college soccer, what could you expect if you went and played for a Division I for all the way down?
Yeah, that's a great question. So at the Division I level, they have rules, and their rules are they can only be with the team for 20 hours per week. However, I'm told that for football, American football, they break that rule every single week. So they're training more than 20 hours a week. But they have to log everything. But beyond, I have a video embedded in the session, but in the presentation, I won't play it because it takes too long. I have a day in the life of a Division I athlete. So yeah, it's just 20 hours per week. However, you've got study halls that aren't included in those. You got your classes, obviously. You may have a weightlifting course. So that's one way that schools get around the 20 hours a week. They create a class where you lift weights, and usually they schedule those early in the morning so it doesn't conflict with the rest of your classes. So you're probably waking up 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning, going to your weightlifting session, showering, then going to class, grabbing some breakfast when you have time, going to class, lunch, and then in the afternoon you have your training session, and then after that you have a study hall. You may have a team activity in the evening. So it's a lot of time, okay? And the higher the level, the probably more time they're gonna put into it, okay? But again, there's varying degrees in each division. So it just depends on how the program's run. Like at our level, Iowa Western's one of the top programs at the junior college level. We run our program like a Division I program, and our players we manage their schedules, and we take all of their time, and we make sure that they're successful. Some colleges at our level, they don't invest as much time in their athletes, and that's for different factors. Like some coaches at my level are part-time, so they don't have the resources themselves to do that type of thing. I'm full-time. Mike is full-time. I have a full-time assistant. So our job is to make sure that we're preparing and developing players. So does that answer your question? It varies, okay? But I would say the top Division I programs, they're having you do extra things, okay? The top programs at each level are having you do extra things, but there's varying degrees in each level and how they run their program. How much time do we have? We got till 7:30, right? Or 7:15? I put on the schedule. A couple of quick facts I want to give you guys. I think I did this for the girls, so I want to skip what the girls are doing. Only about 5.5% of high school boys will play college soccer at any level. It's very, very small percentage of all the high school boys. There are only that percentage. Okay, so that means if there's 100 kids, 100 players, only 6 players are going on to play college at any level. And I can't emphasize this enough. The key is the college fit, okay? And then the future benefits beyond a 4-year education. And we'll talk about that in a second. Yeah, the average recruiting class is 6 to 7 at the D1 level. For female athletes, it's less than 2% that are playing D1. However, with current programs, they're looking more to international players, and so they're taking up maybe two of those 6 players each year. So it's even less, and there's less programs for men at the Division I level. So we're looking at 200 plus, not 330. So your level participation is a lot less than 2%, and this is just for all levels. So we talked about just the academics a little bit. The academics should be your highest priority because that's potentially where you could get the most money. Okay, and it's a great. We talk about red flags. If you have a low GPA, it's a red flag. And Mike said those kids with low GPAs aren't showing up on time to practice. They're causing a little bit of the problem. Not all the time, but it's a pretty big thing. Try to score your highest possible on standardized tests, ACT, SATs. How do you do that? You do your homework in all of your classes. Kids who do their homework in all of their classes tend to score a little bit higher on their ACTs and SATs. It's great prep. Practice doing that homework. And grades, like I said, are an indicator for a college coach. They'll look at your GPA. I had 6 recruits on campus. I loved all of them. One of them had a 3.0, the rest of them all had 3.5 plus. It's a deciding factor. That one with a 3.0 GPA, if she wants to come, maybe I'll take her. The other 5 I really want because they're really good and their grades are awesome. So I know they're going to be good in high school as far as academically. But I can't emphasize that enough. Your academic preparation is the most important thing. There's nobody I know of that I've seen that they're so good that their grades don't matter. Okay, and I think I may have been similar to Mike, where I always thought when I played I was better than who I was. Right, I was the best player on my team growing up, and my grades just killed me. Like they killed me, and it limited where I was able to go. Okay, so if you want more options, get great grades. Get great grades.
And would you say if you don't have good grades now, work real hard and you can show improvement, maybe that would...
Absolutely. So if your GPA, like let's say you ended your GPA, and that was probably my saving grace, is my freshman to junior year for several reasons, I did not do well in classes. But my senior year, I moved and got out of a bad situation, and I crushed it. But my overall GPA was just awful. Absolutely awful. And so I had limited opportunities. However, the coach that took a chance on me really took a deeper dive and said, whoa, something's going on, something was happening in his life that wasn't right, and then his senior year, he turned it around, and he can get good grades, he can get a 4.0. So as long as you turn it around, absolutely. And coaches love to see growth. So if you're in conversations with someone, hey, this is my GPA, however, I struggled my freshman year, but I've corrected it, and this is my GPA my senior year or my junior year, even better. That shows a level of maturity, a level of growth, and that kind of transfers onto the field. Because a lot of times, your freshman year, you're not going to play a whole lot, depending on where you go and what level you are. But if a coach knows that you can grow and get better, he's going to take more of a chance on you and say, okay, I can bring him in, he'll be in our system, I can coach him, and he'll grow and get better. So yeah, progress is super important, and there's never a point where there's no hope for you. So if you guys saw my GPA, even though I did really, really well my senior year, like my grades were still awful, but I still worked hard to find a place that fit me, and I was able to get out of a bad situation. So there's always hope. There's always hope to where you can turn it around. So yeah, you can struggle, but just keep working, try to improve, and it'll work out. Things will work out for you if you continue to improve. Great question. Any other questions on the academics? Okay. Athletic prep, be intentional in your team training sessions. So don't just goof around when you get here. If you want to go and play college, be intentional. Be talking to Abe and your assistant coaches about, hey, what can I do better? Okay, get that feedback. And then every time you step on a training field or a match field, make sure you're intentional about growing and getting better. Train on your off days. Take advantage of other training opportunities, technical, sports performance, sports psych, etc. And we'll be offering some of these, like level 10, I think is a great resource for you guys. And like I said, be intentional when you're there. Give your maximum effort to get better. There's people that want to have your starting spot, and like I said, there's only 5.5% of kids going on to play college soccer. We'll talk a little bit more in detail in future ones, but developing a resume. I'll have, when I send this presentation out to you, I'll send some samples of a resume. Not 100% necessary, but you talk about setting yourself up or apart from your competition. Not a lot of kids do this, but every coach will create a profile for you. And if you do this for him, you're going right to the top of the pile. Okay? And those are just some things to include on there. Mike talked a little bit about the process. So freshman and sophomore, and this was more designed for female athletes. Whatever Mike said about when to do those type of things, he said a little bit earlier. So maybe start a year earlier in front of those. You've got your juniors there. I think what I have here listed is for the NCAA Division I. Below that, the rules kind of loosen. Okay, so there's not as many restrictions on visits or things like that. So when I say June 15th between the 10th and 11th grade, that's only applying to Division I and Division II. Junior college, we don't have any contact restrictions. We can talk to anybody we want without breaking any rules at any time. We just can't host official visits until your senior year. And official visits are, you're either training with the team or we're spending some type of money on you, like we're buying you lunch when you visit, or something like that. We're paying for your travel, etc. Okay. I'll send these out, and like I said, in future seminars, we'll go over stuff in more detail. The right fit. So we talk about the academic fit. What are your academic goals? What do you want to be? What do you want to become? Look, like I love what Mike said. He said, can I still be happy at that place if I wasn't playing soccer? Like, you could be going to play soccer and you could have a career-ending injury. Okay, maybe you tear your ACL and you're out for a whole year. Will you still be happy there? And that's the most important thing. If the academics don't fit, don't go there. Okay? No matter how much you love the soccer program, don't go there. If it's not going to help you and benefit you in the long term, don't go there. Okay? Because soccer can always change. The coach you love, he could get fired, right? Or he could move on and take a better job. And then you're there. And sometimes he brings players with him, sometimes he doesn't. So can you be happy? Can you be happy there without the soccer? Also think about we talked about the majors, but also try to connect to professors when you go and visit these colleges, especially in the major that you want to go into. What do those professors do? Okay, how well connected are they in the industry? Okay, so for me, I went in as a secondary education. Well, that was one of my majors. Secondary education was one of my majors. I chose a school that had an awesome professor that was excellent at teaching that subject, but he was also very, very well respected in the local school districts. Everybody loved him. He had great connections, and I knew if I did well in his courses, I'd have somebody great to recommend me, and I could get a job just like that because he was so well connected. So recognize that. Try to figure that out. Okay, ask those type of questions. Not every coach will have the answer for you, but he can do some searching on his own as well. Social professional fit. Depending on what do you want out of a college scene. Do you want a big college? You want a small college? You want lots of extracurricular activities outside of the sport. Where it is regionally, those type of things. It has to fit well. Can you be happy there? And then the soccer fit. How competitive are you? Do you have to win? Do you have to go to a winning tradition and just be part of that roster? Or would you be happy building a program and helping them move up the table in their different conference? It's all up to you, and there's different, players all have different personalities. I recruit kids, and sometimes they go to my rivals or my in-conference opponents, and I'm thinking, why are they going there? I wanted them here. Here they're going to win. But sometimes they take satisfaction in knowing they can help a mid-level program get a little bit better. And maybe they're a bigger part of that change and a bigger part of that roster rather than maybe sitting on my bench or not playing a huge role for me. But they can go someplace and they can be a bigger role, and I can respect that. So, and also your position. Also think about the coach as well. The coach is paramount. Just how Abe is how you view Council Bluffs Soccer Club, your coach is how you're going to view that school, and he's going to fill different roles for you because you're going to be, the large majority of time, you're going to be living outside of your house. So he's going to become your father, he's going to become your mentor, he's going to be your coach, your psychologist. He's going to fill lots of roles. So make sure that you have a connection with him, or you think you can connect with him, and make sure he's an honest person. You want to have a good leader of your program. And I would say, as with any profession, there's good coaches and there's bad coaches, just like there's good doctors and bad doctors. Okay, try to look for them. Not only are they looking at your character, look at their character. Okay, Mike, he's classy and he won't talk bad about other programs. My opinion of talking about other programs is I want you guys to know the truth. Okay, so if you're looking at a school, I will tell you the truth. Now, I won't bad talk anybody and I won't spread any rumors, but we'll look at the facts and we'll look at what happens at their program. And if I know them, I'm going to tell you guys the truth, because I'm not going to send, or I don't want any Council Bluffs kids to go to a program where they're going to suffer. Okay, I want you to get that right fit. Okay, and the coach plays a big role of that. So, for example, I could talk about my previous employer, the College of Southern Maryland. Fantastic group of coaches. If you wanted to go to the College of Southern Maryland, I'd highly recommend it. as long as I saw the coach, because the coaches are absolutely fantastic. However, the school doesn't support their athletics. Doesn't support it. The current president, he said, I don't want athletics. So it's going to make it really difficult for the coach to fulfill all the promises and create that student experience, or that student athlete experience for you. So that's one thing I would say, hey, look into that. If that doesn't matter too much for you, if you really love the coach, then go there. All of my players, I'd like to say they had great experiences with me as their coach. I'd like to say that. But we did have those fights against the institution of, hey, we need more support. Okay, so for example, we won our conference, we qualified for the national tournament, and I didn't think we got the level of financial support that we needed to go down there and win a national tournament. And that really frustrated me because I knew it impacted their experience. Now, did I let them all know that? No, because they were already in it and they had to believe that they had every possibility of winning that tournament. But be thinking about those type of things. Be thinking about looking deep into those programs, because again, it's all about the right fit, not the level, not the money, or the scholarships. It's all about the right fit. Any questions so far? No? How much time we got left? You guys got your training session now, yeah?
Yep.
All right. Like I said, down here, we'll have future seminars. We'll help develop some of these skills. We'll break all this. This was just a very, very broad, general presentation, but we'll get down in specifics. But be thinking about questions that you may have or topics you want to discuss in more detail in future ones, and we'll get those addressed. And then anytime we've got Mike coming in here, you see your coaches with notepads, bring your notepads. Like I was back there and I was learning some things. So anytime he speaks, it's a great opportunity to learn something and write some things down to help you in the process. Okay, who here wants to play in college? Okay, so a large majority. Okay, and I would say, I won't speak for the men's side, on the girls' side, if you want to play, there's an opportunity for you somewhere in the country for any level of player that you are. You just have to find that, like I said, that right fit. Okay? All right, I'll let you go to your training
Thank
session.
you.
Appreciate it.